Hey, what's up, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. Much appreciated. You know I love you. Tobin and Leroy now streaming live 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every weekday. We have Heat Nets tickets to give away the next couple days on the show. So be listening. You want to be listening live or watching live, I assume, if you guys are YouTube consumers. So check us on out there. WQAM is the place you want to subscribe. And some point during the show, we will give you a chance there to get in on the contest. That'll be the fun part of it. But some news just breaking: Miami Heat losing Duncan Robinson for the next month. He's going to be out for at least 4 weeks and then be reevaluated. The Miami Heat beat reporters putting that out. He is having surgery on the middle finger of his right hand, his shooting hand, and he is going to be out for a while. Duncan Robinson sustained this injury in Washington a couple of months ago. Remember that incident? I think it happened in, I don't know if it was shoot around or if it was a practice, but I think it got caught in something, and he had missed a handful of games. You know, Duncan had been, he missed, like, there were some inactives there, some DNPs, and it certainly got off to a slow start this year early on in the part of the year. But, I felt like Duncan was really starting to find a little something. He's not all the way back to the absolute killer shooter that he was. But I thought that, we were getting – I definitely felt like, especially with Max going through the slump that he was going through, Duncan was buoying, and he was still having a couple games there where he was really performing for Miami. And I thought that – that threat that he can be is one of the most dangerous shooters in the league was starting to come back a little bit. And over his last 9 games, because he had missed like a handful of games in there, he was shooting like 36% from 3, which isn't bad. I mean, it's not like, again, the enormous standard that he's put himself up to. It's way better than, where he had started off this year. You could start to see I think him climbing out of any kind of funk, any kind of troubles that he was having. He was starting to find a little bit of a rhythm, but now he's out. And, this is now the 3rd major injury to the Miami Heat's bench. They lose Duncan. They just lost Nikola Jovic. And we know that they lost Omer Yurtseven earlier on in the year with the ankle injury. And so, unfortunate for Miami. You're starting to now. Luckily, I guess you could say for them, Duncan hasn't been I wouldn't say Duncan's been a main player for the Heat. He's been certainly, spotty here and there, has been able to have a couple nice games where he hits a couple from downtown. And, I think the Heat will be okay from this, but it certainly is it certainly isn't great to lose your options, especially I think if there's you really need Max to get out any kind of funky. As he was great the last game that he played. And has been better on the trip, but you certainly, the spottiness that he's shown at times this year, it was nice to always kind of have that fallback option with Duncan Robinson. And you got to give him credit because look, this is something that he's been dealing with for 2 months. Duncan, for the longest part of his career, really never even had an injury, and I think the only time he missed game was like one time, like a COVID incident, up until he was taken out of the rotation last year, was basically starting every game for Miami. So this dude has been a real Iron Man for the Heat. And to lose him in this upcoming stretch, which is a tough stretch. Miami's going to be taking on a lot of good teams here. They got, they got the Nets coming in. They got the Bucks coming in. They got the Celtics all coming in this month. And definitely not a great blow. We already talked about in the last video, we were talking about Jimmy Butler's health, which has been a concern. They've certainly, it seems like with Eric Spoelstra, have been going towards limiting Kyle Lowry's minutes a little bit because he played so much early on in the year. So you're talking about a big workload that's really being put on Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, the 2 young horses who make a lot of money. So that's definitely, what you rely upon them for, to give you a lot. But having Jimmy be banged up, Kyle, maybe them tapering back the workload a little bit because they rode him so hard early on in the year. And now you lose a Duncan Robinson, you lose a Nikola Jovic. And we've seen at certain points in the year where if guys get banged up, you may need these guys in a certain performance because other guys get hurt. So it's never great to keep losing bodies like this, even though I know a lot of fans will scoff like, Duncan Robinson. I mean, he's not the same guy that he was. I can already hear you skeptic rat bastards right now. I don't like it. I think that this is a bummer. And also, like, look, for the crap that Duncan's been taking, like, the guy just became the all-time leader in three-pointers for Miami Heat history, which I think was a really cool moment for him. I think that he needed something like that, especially because of all the scrutiny, losing your starting job last year, wanted to come in and showing all these different moves that you've added to your arsenal, and I thought that moment was important for Duncan, to get that, and then to have this in LA right after that, where it's like, okay, you just had this great moment. Also, we won't see you for a month. So that's a bit of a bummer. That's a bit of a bummer to go from the extremes of being super positive about something and being happy about something to being in this spot where, like, all right, I guess we'll see you in a month's time. Hopefully, Duncan Robinson. That is that absolutely just sucks. Middle finger on the shooting hand, which is obviously important for a shooter. You got to have the certain touch, and you also want to get him back to a spot where he feels as comfortable as possible. And Duncan Robinson, I'm reading some quotes here from Ira Winderman. It says, Duncan Robinson on his finger surgery. Ultimately, you got to make a decision. He had a second opinion, which provided more clarity on the need for the procedure. Said there's a tear in his ligament. So Duncan, everybody's getting evaluations in L.A. You go in L.A., Jimmy Butler's getting evaluations. Duncan Robinson's getting evaluations. And Duncan Robinson going to be out for a little bit. So that sucks. You wish him a speedy recovery and that he can make his way back soon. But not great news for your Miami Heat to get that from Duncan Robinson, who just got that record, a really cool moment, and now has to get on the mend with his middle finger on his shooting hand having a tear in it.